Good morning. Let's do this. I also just decided I'm going to pack up a bunch of these and try to give them away at the courts today for free. And we're playing pickleball. Alright, so I'm actually going to use this time here to talk through the main title of the video, which is, of course, all about USAP and I guess more particularly their new PBCOR testing. And really what it comes down to is they initially were kind of touting it as like this is them solving for essentially all the issues in pickleball paddles right now. But what I want to do over the next couple minutes here is talk about, as a manufacturer, what it's like from my view. And then as I get into it, I'll talk more big picture and, how it coincides with what's going on with the UPAA, in case you're new to that as well. So let's just take a step back. I'm going to start with a personal gripe. Now, this is petty, but it's part of the larger picture and the issues here. So I mentioned in my last video about how I was a little upset that there was no live stream nor public invite for all manufacturers to view this media day where they were presenting the kind of final, this is what it's going to be for PBCOR testing. And, to take it a step further, I've emailed them. And I've previously emailed them, like when it comes to we're having issues with our paddle, like it's taking long for it to be tested. For instance, we've been waiting for a testing result for about 3 months now when it should be taking 6 weeks. And they've given the response every time, the same response every time I've checked in with them. And it's that we have a larger than normal paddle quantity right now. So testing's taking a little longer. And the first time I said fine, second time I was, fine, but I'm still waiting for that result. And, we paid the same amount as everyone else and we're waiting. So knowing that, I want to just stress that every time we ask, we get a result in less than a day. They're really good about it. I might not like the answers, but we're getting the result. We're getting answers. Now, the second I bring up an actual issue to them, and that is me mentioning these favoritisms that maybe some paddle brands that were invited to the media day, and just because maybe we're smaller that we're not, granted, I get it. If that's the case, sure. I don't like it, but maybe there's we invited people who have 30 plus paddles approved, or maybe if there's a threshold that can at least justify, that'd be fine. But to me, nothing is said, and my emails have not been answered. And in the past, whenever I ask about actual issues in the state of pickleball, they don't answer them. And that's a problem. It really is not even if it's, hey, we're working on our official answer, but just not answer it and sweep it under the rug is an issue. And I have a very big problem with it. So this is my kind of open complaint about it. And I think there is a large issue that's not going to be solved with this PBCOR. If anything, I know what I'm doing right now is I'm researching probably 4 different types of foams. I have I'm contracting a foam company that does specialized foams, for instance, and we're working on new paddles that we can do to make it the exact peak power that's legally allowed. And we're going to do everything we can to have the best paddle we can make. And I think probably every other paddle is doing the same thing. With that noted, where do we go from here? These are going to be brand new technologies, and everything that they've just accounted for with these new testing protocols, I just personally don't know if they're going to be able to keep up with it. And I have fears about that. And the initial answer that we'll kind of bring it back to here is about that PBCOR testing. That's what this whole media day was. That was what this launch was about. And it's already having issues. So I heard the out of everything, and I've had to watch every podcaster's view of the media day to learn what happened there. And there's such valuable information that's being talked about in those meetings. To not be there kills me. Like, every single person who's in that room is now 10 steps ahead of every other manufacturer. And yeah, maybe I guess I'm just salty about it and I keep bringing it up, but it's it's an issue. It's not just me, and that's why I'm like really stressing and making a whole video about it, is because, you know, there's 1,000 manufacturers out there within the USAPA or USAP, and I'm one of, I don't know, 999 companies who've been scorned, you know, and who didn't get all of that information. So back to my point is, I was watching one of the podcasters' video where they brought up the fact that some of the PBCOR results that are coming in on control models or paddles that they know are more powerful are getting lower PBCOR ratings than some that are more all court. And watching the air cannon tests and how they're recording it, they're doing it the exact same method that they do for softball bats. And they did not adapt a new method. So right there, I'm scratching my head. Between those two valuable pieces of information, I don't think it's going to be an effective test. I think also that they're doing a stationary paddle that they're testing. They're not accounting for like dwell time and power and like actual arc from the person's shot. They're only going to get half the numbers, in my opinion. That combined with the issue that all the other reviewers are bringing up, what happens to these paddles that are breaking down over time? So one, this test is only really, in my opinion, testing that initial pop. And it's going to get close. It's going to weed out the really, really, really poppy, powerful paddles. But some of these foam paddles that have heavy dwell time and that gain their power from the rebound of your shot, you know, I guess I wasn't there, so I don't know the exact calculations they're doing. But let me tell you, I really think that it's not going to give us the full picture of paddles. And as we're getting into this new technology, I don't know if it's the answer. Now, let me spin this and get a little more positive, right? So on the flip side, we have a new era of pickleball on our hands. Because of this PBCOR and this whole new revelation, we are now allowed to use new materials. So what broke everything, in my opinion, is the fact that EVA was not allowed in pickleball. And it was because they had no way to measure exit velocity nor like just general power. And because of that, you look at Yola, you look at me, you look at everyone over the last year has just found, like Gearbox even, you know, is found a way to put as much foam as much, you know, power, dense material that you could put into a paddle and stuff it all in there to the point where you're doing that mixed with plastic. So you can say, yeah, USAP, I'm doing the rules. I'm mixing it with plastic, just like you said, even though it's like, I don't know, 30 to 50% foam. And when you're doing that, you're trying to just add power and you're calling it a new technology. That's what I'm doing. That's what everyone else is doing. It has its downsides. Obviously, paddles are breaking and they're becoming even more powerful, or they're breaking through the cells, like because foam, depending on what foam you use, also expands and contracts in interesting ways. So all that to say is we're just like trying to jam this material that we want to use in the paddles. It's used in other sports for a reason. And we're jamming that in there with plastic just to like keep up with the old set of rules. And at least now, where we're chalking it up to, you know, an exit velocity test, or as long as you're within the scope of these rules, you're okay. That is the bright side. We can go full foam and we can just dial it down. So there is a benefit there too. I'm going to end it here. The game's done. We'll get more into it tomorrow. what can I say? That's where we're at. Okay, just got out of the shower. One last thing to do today. It's important, actually. I got to go pick out paint swatches for the new store. And I got to send those over to the, I guess, landlord, you'd call it, or the guy who owns the building. Sounds so medieval, a landlord, right? Is that weird? Am I weird? All right. We're going to go to our local Ace, pick out some colors, really just one color, and it's probably going to be gray. So this is going to be exciting. I warn you. All right, let's go. Okay, now if you're wondering what color we're going with, it's got a nice like bluish green hint of like hue to the gray. And we're doing like a lot of natural wood accents, like a lighter wood color. So I feel like that's gonna balance out like a deeper color wall. It's gonna be good vibes in there. We'll do like some one big accent wall with like some wood palette kind of, not wood palette, what's that called? Shiplap sort of stuff. And display racks. We'll try to do like, I have some dark brushed matte black pipe style. Hopefully that makes sense. And then, like I said, the like lighter wood tones. So it's the kind of vibe we're going for. All these little things, you know, it's like, who cares? But, you know, at the end of the day, these are the little things that you got to think about. Like, it's just, you're like, oh, I didn't know I'd be picking out paint colors today, but I am. So, like, it all adds up, and it'll be cool to look back at these videos one day and just see what all went into everything. Anyways, I'll wrap up the video here. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on the USAP thing I talked about during the playover. Like, what do you think? I mean, I just don't know. I'm feeling a little bit anxious, to be honest. Like, I don't like where this is heading, and whenever USAP drops the ball in the slightest, and they're not getting great publicity right now, it just makes UPA look better, and I don't want UPA to take over. So let me know what you guys are thinking. And, you know, as just like an average consumer, at the end of the day, it is USAP who's driving things. So just keep an eye on that. As long as that stamps on your paddle, you're going to be fine for any rec tournaments, any just like general play. So unless you're like hitting that 5-0 range, don't sweat it. You got nothing to worry about. And literally you're just listening to me as a manufacturer complain. But like, luckily, as at a consumer level, you know, other than this Ripple stuff, you've really got nothing to worry about as long as you keep an eye out for any banned paddles. So that's that. That ends it for episode number 5 of the KiwiLabs Pickleball vlog, and I appreciate all of you guys for tuning in. I guess you don't tune in on a computer. Clicking in. Thanks for clicking in. Whatever. Bye, guys. See ya. Peace.